Welcome back to Europe House Tour. In today's video, we return once again to beautiful Italy to explore two very low-priced homes, each with its own very different story. The first property is a detached house in Frassinetto in the Piedmont region, listed at 25,000 euros. The living space itself is quite small, around 35 square meters, but it comes with something rare at this price level, a very large plot of land, about 9,000 square meters. The house also has a cellar and a balcony, and it's located not too far from a train station and a hospital, which adds a level of practicality that many rural homes don't always have. For someone looking for space and privacy, this combination can be surprisingly attractive. The second home is in Castelvecchio Calvisio in the Abruzzo region, priced at 30,000 euros. It offers around 40 square meters of space with a private entrance located on the top floor, and it includes a balcony with panoramic views of the mountains and valley. For people who truly appreciate landscape, views like this can feel priceless. The property is also close to well-known historic villages such as Santo Stefano di Sessanio and Rocca Calascio, places that attract visitors from all over the world. This type of home suits someone who prefers a compact lifestyle without managing large land, but it does require understanding the realities of mountain climate and winter heating costs. So as always, there's no need to decide anything today. Just watch, take your time, and imagine what life might look like if one day you were living in a place like this. Let's begin the journey.
Let's imagine something for a moment. If you've ever dreamed of a place where the morning begins with the sound of wind moving through the trees and where sunlight slowly settles across a balcony in the quiet of summer, then Frassinetto is exactly that kind of village. Life here doesn't revolve around packed schedules. People move with the daylight, with the seasons, with small routines that feel very real. You can picture a morning where you simply step outside, look across the greenery, and decide whether today is for a quiet walk or just sitting still and listening to the mountain air. And in that setting, there's a detached house listed at a price that many people pause for a second look: 25,000 euros. The house itself is about 35 square meters with 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom, but the structure is a little different from what many people expect. The ground level consists of 3 cellar spaces, storage rooms that can be used for tools, supplies, or simply to manage moisture and ventilation if needed. The living area sits above, with 2 balconies that open the space to light and fresh air, giving the home a feeling of openness despite its compact size. What really gives this property its unique character is the land that comes with it. The plot is roughly 9,000 square meters. It isn't fully fenced, and parts of it slope downhill. For the right person, that amount of land creates a genuine sense of space and ownership, something that's increasingly rare at this price point. But it's also important to be honest about the responsibility that comes with it. Land like this means maintenance, clearing vegetation, managing the terrain, and possibly investing time or money if you want to fence the boundaries properly. As for daily life and services, this isn't a place where everything is right outside your door, but it's not isolated either. The nearest bar or restaurant is only a few minutes away by car. Schools in the area are also within a short drive. The hospital in Cornier is roughly 15 minutes away. Pont Canavese train station is usually about 10 to 15 minutes by car. And if you're arriving by air, Turin's Caselle Airport is around 35 to 40 minutes away. So, while everyday life here leans toward quiet independence, you still remain connected to infrastructure when needed. The surrounding area also offers experiences that add character to the location. Nearby, you'll find Arkansas, a long zipline route, and the thermal bathing area, La Maison de la Sfissi. There are also ski areas not far away, just a short drive according to local descriptions. Places like this rarely turn into loud tourist centers, but they offer enough activities to make weekends interesting and sometimes even seasonal rental potential. Now let's talk about the numbers. At 25,000 euros for about 35 square meters, the price comes to roughly 714 euros per square meter. The reference average in Frassinetto is around 446 euros per square meter. So on paper, this property sits above the local village average. That's not surprising. Smaller homes often show higher price per square meter figures, and in this case, the large plot of land also contributes to the overall value. If you zoom out to the wider market, the average across the province of Turin is around 1,682 euros per square meter. Compared to that, this property is still far below the broader regional level, which helps explain why some buyers see a certain safety margin for long-term holding. Of course, there are things you should look at carefully. The biggest concern here is energy efficiency. The property is listed with very poor energy performance and high recorded consumption. That usually means parts of the infrastructure, insulation, windows, heating systems, may eventually require upgrades if you want the home to perform like newer buildings. But when you weigh that against the relatively low entry price, the equation changes. If your intention is to use the property seasonally or as a quiet retreat rather than a year-round primary residence, those imperfections may become manageable, as long as you inspect everything carefully before making a decision. And maybe the real question isn't about whether the house is perfect, it's about something simpler. When you see a home surrounded by nature with land and quiet like this, do you really need perfection on day one? Or are you looking for a place with enough potential that over time, you can shape it into a home that truly feels like yours?
Now let's move to the second property. Castelvecchio Calvisio is the kind of village where you immediately feel that life moves at a different rhythm, not because the place tries to appear special, but because that is simply how it has always been. The mountain air is clear, the light changes noticeably throughout the day, and the small community gives everything a sense of closeness. If you are used to days filled with schedules and constant movement, places like this naturally slow you down. You walk more slowly, you look around more carefully, and comfort begins to mean something deeper than immediate convenience. Within that setting, there is an apartment with a private entrance, located on the second floor, also the top floor, listed at 30,000 euros. It's a price that catches attention because this area carries strong scenic value and sits close to some of the most well-known destinations in the Abruzzo region. The apartment offers about 40 square meters of living space, with 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The balcony is the most obvious highlight because both the living room and 1 bedroom open directly onto it. From there, the panoramic view of the mountains and valley becomes the feature that makes the living experience feel larger than the actual floor area. Inside, the layout is practical and straightforward. There is a compact kitchen area, a flexible living room space, a corridor leading to the bedrooms, and a bathroom with a window. The windows themselves are double glazed, with wood on the inside and aluminum on the outside. It may sound like a small detail, but in mountain homes it matters a lot because it directly affects warmth and noise insulation. The heating system uses independent convectors, which gives you control over usage, though operating costs will depend heavily on insulation quality and how you choose to use the system. In terms of everyday services, one advantage here is that basic needs are actually quite close in practical terms. A convenience store is only a few minutes away on foot. The pharmacy is also nearby, which brings peace of mind if you stay for longer periods. A local bar sits within walking distance, and the nearest restaurant is only a short drive away. Schools are located in the surrounding area, and a medical clinic can typically be reached in about 15 minutes by car. Fontecchio train station is around 20 to 25 minutes away by car, and the nearest highway access is not too far either. But part of the appeal of this property goes beyond everyday services. It also comes from the surrounding destinations, Santo Stefano di Sessanio and Calascio. 2 names well known among people who love historic stone villages and mountain landscapes, are only about 15 minutes away by car. You can visit during the day and return home while still keeping the quiet rhythm of village life. A ski area sits roughly 25 minutes away, and if you want to change scenery and head toward the sea, the Adriatic coast can usually be reached in about an hour depending on the route. Distances like these create the feeling of a small base, a place well suited for a second home where you spend several weeks a year, or even a property that could be rented short-term during certain seasons. Looking at the financial side, the numbers are quite clear. At 30,000 euros for roughly 40 square meters, the cost is about 750 euros per square meter. If you zoom out to the broader market, the average across the province of L'Aquila is around 1,199 euros per square meter. That means this area still sits significantly below the provincial level. For many buyers, that creates a sense of safety, especially if they are not expecting quick price gains, but instead want to hold a small property in a place with strong landscape value and distinctive character. There are, however, a few points worth considering carefully. First, the energy rating has not yet been provided. That means there is some uncertainty about heating costs during the colder months until an official certificate or detailed inspection becomes available. Second, this region has a historical connection to seismic activity.
Even though the listing describes the apartment as ready to live in, it is still wise to review the documentation carefully, especially any structural updates or renovations that may have been carried out after past seismic events. Being on the top floor also means roof maintenance becomes part of the responsibility to evaluate. Third, the convector heating system could increase electricity costs if the building loses heat easily. However, when these factors are placed next to the €30,000 entry price and alongside the fact that the apartment is already livable, equipped with double-glazed windows and a balcony overlooking the mountains, many buyers see these risks as manageable, as long as they follow a proper inspection process before committing. And perhaps the most interesting question here is a personal one. If you owned a small top-floor apartment overlooking mountains and valleys, close to some of Italy's most beautiful stone villages, would you see it as a place to escape the fast pace of life a few times each year, or as a warm stopover where other people searching for a slower life might also come to rest for a while?
We've just walked through two homes that begin with numbers that tend to make people pause for a moment. €25,000, €30,000. If you're used to property markets in many other parts of the world, those numbers can sound almost unbelievable. But when we slow down and look more closely, what remains after today's video probably isn't the price itself. What stays with you is the feeling of two different ways of living. One home sits surrounded by open nature, with a large piece of land and a lifestyle more closely connected to the landscape around it. The other sits inside a small mountain village, where a balcony opens toward the valley and daily life moves at a quiet pace that follows the rhythm of the seasons. These two options differ not only in space, but in the way you would actually live with the place. And perhaps the most important question after watching today's video isn't which one is cheaper, because both are priced in a way that often makes people reconsider the markets they may already be familiar with. The real question is, what exactly are you buying? Some people are simply looking for a place they can return to a few times each year. A small home, simple and comfortable, just enough to rest and step away from the fast pace of city life. It doesn't need to be large. It doesn't need endless amenities. It only needs to be quiet enough for you to truly feel that you've taken a break. Others are searching for something different. They want a place where life slows down permanently, and they understand that quiet often comes with responsibility. It may mean taking care of a larger piece of land. It may mean gradually improving an older house over time, or simply accepting that life in small villages works differently from the convenience of large cities. If you come from places where owning even a small apartment can become a heavy financial burden, prices like €25,000 or €30,000 may sound unreal. But in many parts of Europe, especially in areas far from major urban centers, these kinds of options still exist. Not every house will be perfect. Not every property will be ready to live in without adjustments. But for people who approach them calmly, realistically, and with a clear plan, the opportunity is still there. With the two homes we saw today, there is one common point that becomes quite clear. The purchase price is only the first step. What matters much more is how you choose to live with the place afterward. One home offers more land and more open natural space, but in exchange it brings the responsibility of maintenance and long-term upkeep. The other is more compact and easier to manage, yet it still requires understanding the realities of mountain climate and the costs that may come with it. These observations are not meant as warnings against inexpensive homes. They are simply reminders that price alone is never the full story. What really matters is whether your expectations match the reality of the place. And there is something interesting that often happens when people watch videos like this. At first, the number catches attention. But after a while, what stays with you usually isn't the price. It's the feeling. Can you picture yourself in a quiet mountain morning, where the day begins slowly and nobody seems to be rushing anywhere? Or do you prefer the idea of a small retreat, a place you return to a few times each year, knowing that somewhere in Europe you still have a corner that belongs to you? If you'd like, leave a comment and share your thoughts. Which of these homes made you pause longer, and why? We read every comment, because sometimes the stories shared by viewers make this journey feel even real than the houses themselves. Thank you for staying with us until the end. If this perspective has been useful to you, feel free to subscribe and continue exploring with us. In the next video, we'll open another door somewhere in Europe. No rush, no exaggerated promises, just a simple attempt to see things more clearly and perhaps live a little more lightly.